Welcome to the Dabbleverse Nightly Roundup, your first place to look for all the news going on around and in the Dabbleverse. If you love this story, please give us a like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any of the breaking news. It sounds funny ads or children's stories.
Disaster strikes Conoga Park as a hazardous material team is called in to dispose of stuttering John Melendez's filthy furniture left on the curb. In a shocking turn of events, the shitty neighborhood of Conoga Park, California, found itself in disarray as former comedian and ever-failing podcaster stuttering John Melendez vacated his apartment in a rush, leaving behind a couch and mattress that were described as a filthy mess by residents on the curb. This disgusting furniture led to an emergency situation occurring, and the state of California called in the Environmental Protection Agency to abate the situation. John's former elderly neighbors, Harold and Mildred Thompson, who we have interviewed in the past, when they described Melendez as nothing but a pest that was a screaming mess that stole their internet and food deliveries, reported the furniture by the curb. They were the first to discover the repulsive sight and promptly alerted the authorities. The dangerous nature of the items prompted an immediate response from the state of California to call out the Environmental Protection Agency's Rapid Response Material Team, who swiftly arrived at the scene. The stench was overpowering. We couldn't believe what we were seeing. The furniture appeared to be covered in cum, piss and shit, said Mrs. Thompson, visibly distressed by the discovery. While we were standing there, someone came up with a black light and confirmed our fears that the couch and mattress were consumed in filth, said Mrs. Thompson as she cried, obviously shaken by what she was seeing. Mr. Thompson added, "We even drove several blocks away and could still smell the damn things. It was a nightmare. We couldn't believe what we were seeing and smelling," said another neighbor, who wished to remain anonymous. "It was like something out of a horror movie. We had no choice but to call the authorities right away, because birds were flying over and dying instantly from the fumes." The situation escalated quickly as the federal authorities arrived on the scene and realized the severity of the contamination, and were shocked because they have never seen something so horrendous. Due to the contaminated nature of the waste, a hazmaterial team from the EPA were summoned by the state of California to assess and dispose of the contaminated items safely. The hazmaterial team were seen parachuting in from a plane as it flew over the scene. They were fully dressed out in full contamination suits. "It's not every day we deal with something like this," commented Captain Angela Matthews of the EPA. "The couch and mattress were deemed a health risk, so we had to take immediate action to protect the public." The EPA evacuated the 10-block area surrounding John's former apartment to keep the residents safe. The EPA representative said, "We may be seeing the beginning of the next pandemic right here, so we are trying to eliminate the danger as quickly as possible." They also were overheard saying, "God help us, because who knows what mutations in animals we will see due to them coming in contact with this cum and shit." Concerned about the health risks posed by the contaminated furniture, officials from the hazmat team determined that traditional disposal methods were insufficient to deal with John's filth. It would have just crawled out of the metal drums. As a result, an unconventional decision was made to utilize a flamethrower to incinerate the hazardous items on site. It was a horrible situation that called for a specialized approach. This method is extreme, but necessary in this case to kill the evil coming off this furniture, commented Chief Inspector Mark Davis of the EPA Hazmaterials Response Unit. Burning the items was deemed the safest and most effective way to eliminate the biohazard and ensure public safety. Inspector Davis was heard joking, "Based on how filthy this couch and mattress are, we considered bringing in an exorcist. But there are just some things God can't handle." He was also heard saying to another worker, "I hope no homeless women sat on this cum-covered couch. The last thing this world needs is another child for John to corrupt and ignore." The use of the flamethrower attracted a crowd of curious onlookers, many of whom watched in astonishment as flames consumed the tainted furniture. Onlookers said, "The couch and mattresses emitted green smoke that went high into the air. It looked like something from The Walking Dead. Hopefully the smoke doesn't go over other cities and infect everyone there with John's failure filth." The ABBA conducted a controlled burn was carefully executed to minimize environmental impact and prevent any further spread of contamination. but it is impossible to contain all of the smoke when you do a burn outside. But hopefully it doesn't harm the citizens of other cities. Authorities have since reassured residents that the area has been thoroughly decontaminated and declared safe for normal activities, but residents are hesitant to believe anything can completely destroy John's filth. However, the incident has sparked conversations about not only responsible waste disposal and community hygiene practices, but also having a law to never rent a residential location to John in California, but to make him sleep at a zoo with the monkeys instead. This incident underscores the importance of proper waste management and respect for our neighborhoods, and for the neighbors' rights as well, because no one should be subjected to living next to John, remarked Councilwoman Emily Carter, reflecting on the event. We must all take responsibility for maintaining the cleanliness and safety of our community, and also protect everyone from John's shitty comedy and his horrible podcasts. The councilwoman further said, "Our thoughts and prayers go out to the Thompsons. They have been subjected to living next to this horrible animal for years, and no one deserves that." This reporter can only imagine the horrors that the Thompsons have endured, and I am sure it will take years of therapy to get the elderly couple back to a normal life again. As investigations into the circumstances surrounding the abandonment of the hazardous items continue, authorities are working to prevent similar occurrences in the future. The investigation revealed as bad as the furniture, but at least it was outside. When we went in the abandoned apartment, it was left in a horrible condition that will also require extensive cleanup and probably is a complete loss. The owners of the apartment complex are shocked and dismayed at the damage that John did to the apartment in a short period of time. The owner was heard saying as they cried, "How can one man have that many empty cans on the floor in one apartment with the cat shit everywhere?" On a side note, the man in this video was seen in Las Vegas days later, looking like a zombie walking near a home screaming "Fadi Patty" and "Embarrassed" said at a clearly empty house. If you see this man, please notify the Uncle Rico Show and the authorities immediately to deal with him. For the Thompsons and other affected residents, the unsettling ordeal serves as a reminder of the importance of prompt reporting and collective action in safeguarding community well-being. Mrs. Thompson said, "We regret ever meeting John. He was the worst neighbor ever and always yelling about someone named Shule and that damn potato. We think that the boy may have been a little touched in the head," said Mr. Thompson. They both said, "As we left, we never thought he was dangerous. But obviously he was. None of us will be the same again after meeting him." As Conaga Park moves forward from this unsettling episode, residents remain hopeful that stricter waste management practices and heightened community vigilance will prevent such incidents from recurring in their neighborhood. But on the brighter side, at least now John is gone and we can start healing.
I approve this message by the Dabbleverse Nightly Roundup, and I love this channel.